to good use here, and we'll have an even bigger and better second half of the year. If this is your first time on the governance call, we use Zoom for all of the presentation slides, and that is linked at the top of the ShapeShiftDAO stage chat at the top of our Discord. There you can follow along with what's going on. We also have that ShapeShiftDAO stage chat. And if you have questions throughout any of the presentations that we have coming on today, feel free to ask your questions there. You can also raise your hand and get up on stage, but try and reserve that more so for folks that are dealing with the proposals themselves. But we have a big Q&A that we can bring people on stage afterwards. And yeah, I see DeFi's on stage with me as well. Are you in preparation and waiting the wings, or did you have something you wanted to start the call off with me, sir?
No, I just wanted to lower my anxiety levels before I started talking. That's all.
Just envision everyone in the Discord in their underwear. I know that helps for some people.
Anyone in particular?
Me at least, but I don't know. Maybe you take your pick, random pick. Maybe one of these bots out there is in their underwear. All right, so our agenda today, we're going to go over proposals that have passed, as well as proposals that are up for vote right now, and then we'll kick it back into things that are in ideation, which is the phase in the forum right before they go to proposal for boardroom, where you can show your sentiment with a poll and vote on things. Then we have some forum posts that might turn into ideation phases, or might just be updates around different things that we've got going on. And then we'll talk about the anything else that people want to talk about with our time. First up, we have the past proposal of the commission research through Messari Hub. Jack hasn't been around for these governance calls. It might be a rough time for him, and it doesn't look like he's in the audience. But what I can say is that this did pass with 4.21 million votes, and that I'm sure we'll have to follow up with Jack about timelines for specifics on this report, and if they will be reaching out to any of us DAO contributors for data or information or interviews like that. But I know that it will be a pretty detailed report, and once it comes out, we'll be sure to connect growth and marketing so we can get this across all of our channels, maybe into some other languages and things like that. So I'm sure that there will be lots to follow up with Jack here. And he is somewhat active inside our Discord. He's not completely silent. So if you have any specifics of questions you'd like to see about details of this, or follow-ups on status, I'd highly recommend tagging Jack in either the general channel, maybe the governance channel, since this just passed. The general channel is pretty quick. So we can follow up there. And congrats, Fox fam. We will have a nice, neat report through the Messari Hub coming to us. Another past proposal is for the Operations Workstream for our second term. You guys really, really like me and the rest of our ops assistants. You voted with 4.28 million FOX to continue our budget for the next 6 months. This includes an increase in testing funds, and an increase in available positions for the ops assistants. We just had a hiring round, but we'll have more hiring and bounties coming out for some of our tasks as well, hopefully after ETH Denver. So thank you very much for your vote of confidence and all of your Fox votes there, guys. I appreciate it. If you have any questions about what's going on ops, if you're interested in joining our work stream and getting involved with maybe these bounties in the future, feel free to click the operations emoji in the role selector, and then you'll be able to find operations public chat or triage, and feel free to introduce yourself in there, and we'll connect you with the right resources so you can be plugged in with ops. So thanks, guys. I'll have some reviews about our second term here as we're coming through, maybe halfway through and as well at the end. Thanks for keeping me aboard here. I'm happy to be with the DAO. We have one active proposal right now, and it just went up for vote today, and that is the Treasury Management and Diversification Committee continuing their term. Do we have rotorless out there? I feel like I saw him earlier. There we are. Let me send you an invite, good sir. See if you can join us. This is a proposal that just hit boardroom snapshot after being in ideation and getting some good feedback around some goals and metrics. This is going to be funding the TDMC and actually providing some FOX incentives for them to continue holding their position at 4,000 FOX per month per member. This proposal would continue on indefinitely until the governance process needs to be invoked to change something about that. And this is going to track all of, they're going to track all of their changes and meetings in monthly status updates. There is a lot to go on with the FOXy token and contract, and we actually have a conversation to have about that a little bit later on the call today. Ocean made a great post of it in the forum. And when and if that gets launched successfully, there's a lot of strategy involved in that the TDMC will be tasked with managing to help the benefit of that entire ecosystem, for the benefit of the DAO, as well as for those that are staking into FOXy. The TDMC is going to try and finish the term with 4.5 million in new stables. And they're looking to now have the committee membership approved on 6-month cycles. So this new 6 months that's being proposed would be Rotorless, Albatross, Professor McCarthy, Kent, and John is John, who I believe will be replacing that position that Danielle stepped down from. So that is the proposal that's up for vote. We had some chance to talk about this, I believe in a tokenomics call just the other day. So I think you can go back into the recorded meetings and find some more details on that if you're looking for more information. There's also the forum post with a good conversation that was had before this made it to the proposal. So, oh, gotcha. And I see here in this stage, there's a minor correction that Josh will be replacing Albatross, and that is in the snapshot post. Thanks for that clarification, Kent and John is John. I will update that in my slides after this so we can make sure we've got the right information going out in our newsletters and such. But that is a minor detail. And yes, thanks, Kent. Props to Rotorless for putting all of this together and soliciting that feedback and updating this proposal to get it where it is now. So good job, TDMC, on all of the work that you guys did in the past term. I didn't list that inside this card here, but it's listed in the forum post. And there is quite an extensive resume that shows all of the good work that they're putting in there to generate revenue for the DAO. So check it all out. Be informed before you make your vote. Ask any questions if you still need them. And the tokenomics workstream section of this Discord and TDMC channels are the best place I would direct you if you have any questions. Kent, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to this, if you're available, but I feel like I covered it pretty good. But if there's something I'm missing from this, I know you're in the audience and on the committee as well. Happy to bring you up, or we can keep moving too.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. Not a ton to add here. One thing I just wanted to emphasize is, the current TMDC has done some awesome work. I think, we deliberate on things like, of course, how to get exposure to stable coins, how to, whether or not to reinvest proceeds from our existing positions, things like toke rewards. This is kind of a nice little iteration beyond that. And the most important thing, I think that the new element it includes is assuming the FOXy proposal passes and the contract is implemented, and this becomes a thing under the scope of the proposal that Ocean spelled out in the forum, which is, he did such an awesome job of just detailing all this. But one of the things that the TMC would be responsible for is, and this is such a crucial part of the functioning of FOXy, is determining how to manage the rewards. Things like, okay, we've generated $1 million worth of token rewards. Should those rewards be given to be turned into FOXy rewards and distributed to all FOXy stakers? And that's actually the plan right now. But then you get into like, kind of the details of like, okay, how much toke should we do? If toke is an appreciating asset and we're bullish on toke, maybe it would be better not to put all of it in there. And then, we have so many other revenue streams that we're going to develop as a result of this overall tokenomics strategy, that toke will not be the only sort of reward source moving forward. So this will be an important thing, important responsibility for the TMDC moving forward, if and when FOXy becomes live. So just something for y'all to consider. But yeah, this is a really, I think, a solid proposal, and it fills in a couple gaps we had from the first one. So yeah, give it a look and a vote if you're interested.
Totally. I really appreciate the way in which you guys propose this as kind of a continuation of your first proposal with amendments to it. It was really neat to see that, and we haven't had a work stream do that yet, but I think it's a very successful way to show not only the success of what you guys set out there to do, but how you might continue to be agile and improve things. So thanks for that color, Kent, and I look forward to the day when you guys are controlling all those levers behind FOXy.
Right on. Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you. And this one just went up today, guys, so it's super young. It's only got about 2,000 Fox votes behind it. So I know a lot of you listening haven't voted yet. If you have a chance to plug in your wallet, this is a good proposal to do it with. All right. I feel like we covered this, and we cover this every single week, so I'm just going to do it really quickly. We go forum first, then we go to ideation, which is still in the forum with a poll. And then after 5 days in ideation, you can go to boardroom or snapshot for your live vote. There's a whole bunch of details inside this that have been hammered out with the whole community by Miss and another proposal we're going to get to in a second. I think it's actually on the next slide. So we'll leave the finer grained details to that part of this call, which is right now. So Mr. Nerdhair, DeFi, whichever one of you would like to come up here first, we're happy to give you all the floor. Would you like to go first, DeFi?
Sure. I think Mr. Nerdhair beat me by like a split second and jumped back down. Sure. So just an update since the last governance call last week. The previous update was that the engineering budget would be going up for vote. It has since gone up, sorry, not for vote, for discussion, the first stage on the forum. So that went up on Monday night, and it's been up there for about 3 full days now. In general, been pretty good support. I think it's all yeses so far, and some supportive comments from Workstream members, and questions from Meg from support and from John regarding the kind of technical details of the Fox streams. Never was, if you're in the audience and listening, I understand that he's got questions there. I just haven't had a chance to address those today, but I will. So yeah, if anyone hasn't seen the budget, please go and take a look. The very kind of high level summary is 10 full-time engineers plus growth for additional 4 engineers and 1 technical program manager, which is a new role essentially to cover things like bounty administration, project management, PR reviews, just administrative tasks to help relieve the kind of maintenance burden from engineers. And the big kind of high level items, base salaries increased 20% across the board, just in reflection of the current engineering labor market across the board being very competitive, and the addition of Fox streams. The very high level summary of a Fox stream is essentially equivalent to engineering base salary in upside each year over 3 years. Paid in Fox. It has a 6-month cliff period, so if you leave before that, you get nothing. And then the remaining 2.5 years or 30 months would be over a stream using something like Sablia or Superfluid, kind of TBD and at our discretion. But they're the big ticket items. We've got a list of deliverables in there that are in the budget, and that was mainly the questions that Neverwise has. So I'm going to go back and link up each deliverable listed there to specifications if we have them available already, just to provide more clarity there, because I did say that details would be available on request. One thing that I do want to kind of raise, literally just seconds ago, we've extended an offer to, and I guess this is public information now, a community dev, Gomez. So Gomez, pending acceptance, will be joining the engineering workstream as well. And the question I kind of have for the community is, shall we use one of the growth positions? So we had 2 mids and 2 seniors available, or should we include Gomez in the current team members as this budget does commence on the 1st of March? My personal preference is to include in the current team members because the current budget has room to cover that. I'm saying that the active budget at the moment, and to keep 4 open positions for growth in the new budget going forward after March 1st. So I'll post this on the discussion as well, and it's good that we've caught Gomez in the kind of discussion phase of this proposal before it's gone to ideation or vote. But that's kind of the update. So yeah, if you're not familiar, please go and have a look, and curious to hear any thoughts of whether we include Gomez in current or future team members. So that's it from me.
Thanks, DeFi. It's just my personal opinion, but I definitely think that the discretion of where Gomez lines is up to the workstream leader, and I think if it's advantageous for you guys to sneak him into the first group so you can keep your more positions open and available, I think more growth is better, but I certainly don't need to be the only voice in this conversation.
Yeah, just to justify that, over the last, I guess, 6 weeks, call it 2 months if we don't hire more in the next 2 weeks, we've hired 2 community contributors, namely Apotheosis and now Gomez, pending accepting an offer. So over a 6-month cycle with 4 engineering and 1 technical program manager position, I'd kind of like to keep the wiggle room in the budget there to be able to hire more.
I totally hear it and agree with you. I know one part of this, I think that's a new aspect outside of most workstream renewals, is this FOXstream idea that you presented. And I think you did a really great job of outlining the entire model. And I guess the one part I would have is because it's such kind of a unique thing with kind of new circumstances of payment and stuff like that, that maybe we do have a little bit of a discussion here in the governance call for it. If it is something that blows out beyond just kind of a short little window conversation, maybe we could even schedule a secondary call about Fox streams and its implications. I know John posted some things in the forum post about kind of his initial thoughts around this and maybe different edge cases, but yeah, I thought that it's definitely worth a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Something I didn't kind of verbalize here on this call regarding the Fox streams, which is the most important, is the motivation, obviously. Like I wrote in the budget proposal, it was inspired by the traditional compensation models for centralized companies. So if you join a private company, this is typically stock options. If you join a public company like Coinbase, this is restricted stock units. So it's a similar model where the intent here is to be able to both attract, 1, and 2, retain talented engineers, which is becoming increasingly hard to do. Crypto is highly volatile and risky and subject to regulation stuff, so people need the same or better potential upside for their contributions. So that was the overall intent for this. It's no secret that since the decentralization announcement that we did have quite a few of our engineers leave. Thankfully, that has now since stabilized and actually turned the corner back towards growth with the most recent hire or 2. But we want to continue that trend and continue to attract and retain good talent. So that was the intent there. And yeah, obviously John's comments are completely valid, especially with regard to the DAO Treasury administering those FOX streams. I entirely agree with John there, given the size and nature of them, and especially as it relates to me individually, I absolutely cannot be administering my own stream. So yes, that's up to the DAO. Thankfully, just given the way that we've proposed this, we've got 6 months to figure it out because of the cliff period and everything. So, we've got time to evaluate tooling. I know Superfluid just got wrecked this week and affected a bunch of DAO treasuries. So we obviously don't want to be subject to that. And like John also said, this shouldn't be it's kind of a touchy subject, but, engineering roles are very, technical and specialized and difficult to hire for, and agree that other work streams are certainly welcome to offer their own creative incentive packages. However, should this budget be approved, this shouldn't be, what's the legal term? Precedent for, other work streams to assume that this exact model should be adopted accordingly. So I think those both very valid comments, and hope that they were addressed clearly in my response. But yeah, like you said, if obviously I recognize this is, I think it's the largest proposal that's gone up yet. I'm not sure. And it was difficult to word around the commitment of the FOX, from a cash flow perspective and things like that. So if anyone's got any questions or concerns or feedback, I'm more than happy to have an individual call with the community, or reserve more time in a governance call for Q&A to discuss this more at length.
Thanks, DeFi. I think that's a great kind of addendum to all of that. I certainly know I'm not well versed in stock option models or things like that, so I'm definitely not the most familiar with game theory and all of this, and if the numbers and everything line up. But I do know that you and Josh have been talking to lots of other DAOs about their compensation models and things like that, and did a lot of research to try and get these numbers at the respectable levels that you've just outlined. So yeah, to be totally honest with you, I have some questions around, like, we did those Sablier streams and there's quite a few less people here now that are still collecting than those that are available for those. And I would hope that we have some checks and balances, that we don't have a second mass exodus, but I'm not sure how game theory plays out in that. And I don't know, we don't need to have that be addressed here on the call too, but yeah, just to state my amateur knowledge around these stock option models, how that, I hope that you guys looked at how to make sure that we're keeping them for good this time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the key difference between, and this is no secret, that all former ShapeShift employees got a stream to various sizes based on like role and tenure. The key difference with this stream that is being proposed is the cancellation. And so that's kind of the stick that goes along with the carrot. There's the cliff period involved, and then there's also the cancellation of the stream after that. So that was absolutely a key consideration in the design of these streams. Yeah, appreciate the concern and question.
Awesome, yeah. And Josh also followed up with the exact wording from the proposal that outlines that if they leave during the 36-month period, that stick just whacks them. So that shows me right there, you guys have done a lot of thinking about that and how to incentivize this properly. So thank you very much for doing all of that hard work there.
Cool, thanks. I'll jump down to the audience and listen in. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to jump back up.
Awesome, thanks, DeFi. Do we have Mr. Nerdhair or Miss in the audience? All right, Jim, Mr. Nerdhair.
Hey guys. Since the last governance call, the Security Workstream proposal, Josh and John and they replied and pointed out that we really need to come up with specific goals for the Security Workstream, which I've left out. I left out so far simply because like it's hard to measure security performance, and I didn't really have a good answer to how to do that. Like, you know, 0 hacks, not a good KPI. But through some, you know, conversations that I've had and with Josh especially, and through, you know, mulling it over, I realized that one of the most important ways to describe security or security's role is in supporting other work streams. And so I put out a poll over the last week for security workstream, or sorry, for other workstream leaders to try help and provide some feedback on how they think we're doing, but also where we can improve and how we can support their work stream going forward. I believe all work streams have responded to that now. I think we have like 5 promoters and 3 neutrals in the, you know, if NPS is actually a thing, which I'm not 100% convinced it is, but anyway. But one of the, I think out of this data has emerged that one of the most important things for security to do, and so I'm definitely going to put this in as a goal, is to come up with a tracking system that lets work streams, or, you know, I mean, heck, individual people from the DAO, make security requests, track how they go through, and let everyone see essentially what's in flight and what the velocity is. And it's my hope that we can turn that into like KPI, like target numbers for probably the next cycle, because, you know, we don't have any data right now to be able to say what a normal set of numbers under that particular system would be. But I'm later today will be updating this post with a set of, I suppose, call it derived goals out of this. I think that I'll keep KPIs for this cycle as sort of the binary "did you do the things" kind of KPIs, just because you know, you can build the system, but you don't necessarily have the data for comparison to know, you know, you moved 100 story points in 6 months. Is that good? Is that bad? Who knows, right? I think we need to run it a bit before we can tell what is ideal there. I'll also be putting up a similar survey to the one I did for workstream leaders, just for any member of the community, you know, any DAO contributor or anyone with feedback or insight to share, to also contribute to this process. I'm very much relying on y'all to you know, help me develop a way of managing security that fits with your vision of how the DAO should be run and how the you know, performance of security should be measured. But anyway, this has all been, you know, everyone has been very supportive so far, and thank you for working with me through this process. You know, I'll believe my plan at the moment is to take one more week on, you know, I'll post the update the goals, or suggested goals, I suppose, later today, and a feedback link. And my plan is, hopefully, if everything goes well and people think that everything, you know, the idea is solidifying around something workable, I may be able to move it to snapshot next week if that's the case.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nerd here. Your methodical approach to all of this has been super inspiring, and definitely something to lead an example by, how we as other workstream leaders could also solicit feedback and be open to being more flexible with how we do these things here in the DAO. Awesome. So I look forward to that. We'll see that one up maybe in a week after we get the rest of that info from Mr. Nerd here. I know we had some changes to the end of the proposal, Miss. I feel like your proposal has gotten more edits and updates and changes than anything this governance process has ever had.
I feel like that is accurate. And I was just having a conversation about what cryptocurrency is backed by versus what the US dollar is backed by. So it's it's been an interesting day. But yes, we GMO, we have had a number of iterations of this. This is actually the second time that it's been in the forum, and we'll be moving to ideation. So basically what we're looking at doing is formalizing that first step, making incubation, which was kind of a recommended, but is now going to be a required step. And then from there, we'll move on to ideation and finally the live voting that we have currently. Some of the things that we are resolving, Mr. Nerdhair actually built this awesome tool to resolve the issue of having a proposal that's too long, that's past the character limit that we have through Snapshot. So there's a way that you will be able to ping that with an IPFS, which if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I didn't understand what that was, but I do now. That you can throw that information up there and we will have a immutable way to have it. I'm thinking through the rest of the changes. Willie also put some great changes up there involving NetSafe and how that is going to be handled. Tyler, this has been such a process. What else am I missing?
I think you just mentioned with Willie, but there's also the details for requests of funds and all of the specifics that would be needed if you write a proposal that is going to end up with sending funds out from the Treasury, I believe. Wasn't that the newest edition that happened today?
Yes, it was. It was a great question that was brought up, I think, by Seth originally, and Willie has done an awesome job of kind of addressing that. What do you do if your proposal has passed? So those are going to be all really great changes to be made because it has been up for so long and we've had such a great discussion. I assume that it's going to go through ideation with no issues. I'm hoping to get that up actually before I leave for Denver. And once that passes through ideation, then we'll get it up to voting. I don't expect there to be any issues again because we've had awesome discussion. But if you have any more thoughts on it, let me know or hit it up in the forum.
Thank you, Miss. We appreciate you carrying this boulder for so long and being the lead who was in charge of making sure that we had these discussions. Mr. Nerdhair says that the length and time that it took in here was a good thing, and I have to agree with him here. Similarly to him, you did a very methodical approach to making sure that everyone could get their opinions in this, and really we could shape this to be the best proposal that you could for the process. So I appreciate all of the time and the process that you took and the frustrations and patience it probably took to redo this as many times as you've done.
No, not at all. I've really enjoyed it and loved getting the feedback. And I agree, this is an incredibly important proposal. I'm just happy to help facilitate it and keep it going.
We're very appreciative of all that you do here at the DAO, Miss.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving right along. We've got 4 more on the end of this slide. We've got Josh with his engineering report, Meg with an update on the We Foxed Up Fund, Ocean, who's out of town, but maybe I'll have someone who could step in and be a sub for Ocean to lead this FOXy community discussion. And then Marley sneaking in right at the last minute with his UMI validator proposal. So if you have the ability to get up on stage and you'd like to be here for this, please do so. If not, I'm going to start sending out invites to folks.
Hey, I'm here. Happy to answer any questions on the engineering report from last month.
Sweet. I didn't break down any details on it. Is there any high-level things that are worth enshrining on this governance call from that report we'd like to put up here? Or is it definitely just one to dig deep dive on the forums for?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely just want to do it every month so that it's documented for historical purposes. I mean, the biggest thing was the V2 launch, and getting the multiple account support into the V2 launch was really it was a good lift, right? It did take some work to get that feature in there. So we're really proud of that. And then we've just had some really great discussions about the, in the vein of adding Cosmos, how we are creating our abstraction layers to add additional chains. I mentioned this on the kickoff call on Monday, that we really have discovered that the engineering secret sauce of the ShapeShift product is how we're building these abstractions and how easy it's going to be to add new chains and new protocols to it so that outside contributors can do it. Our engineering team will not be a bottleneck in adding more protocols and chains to the platform, which is really great. We don't have our own protocol. We don't have our own blockchain. Right? We don't have any intellectual property or secret sauce in that regards. It's in how we interact with the different blockchains and protocols.
Awesome. Thanks for those updates there. And yeah, it's great to see you guys very clearly define that. I've definitely seen a velocity of new engineers, and just adding GOMS and 0x apotheosis is the great early signs that you're right there, that we can make this really easy for lots of people to come join our team. Sweet. Marley's up here too. Would you like to let us know what's going on in the land of Taxi Steak?
Sure. Yeah, my power just went out, so that's awesome. But I'm here on my phone. But yeah, so new proposal SCP-63 is up. Yumi is a unique new chain that's launching imminently. I would say next week, I think. And so we've been involved in their incentivized testnets for at least a couple months now, and they're finally ready to go mainnet. So super exciting, and been watching them very closely. They have a functional Ethereum Cosmos or Tendermint. It's Yumi bridge. And so in testnet, we made little ERC20 taxi tokens on Goriel, if I'm saying that correct, testnet. And we were sending them back and forth between Yumi. So there might be a way to have Fox on Tendermint or vice versa, like Atoms on ETH very soon. So yeah, that proposal just went up in the past few hours. There also is a question about should this be a one validator proposal, or we would like to expand into some other ones like Gnosis chain, which is previously XDAI, and Luna has been requested a lot. And I looked into the docs pretty deeply. It's very, very similar to the other Cosmos-based ones. So far, people have said just go for it and throw them all on there. So I'd love to get some more votes on there, and that'll probably be a change inserted in the ideation phase. Any questions?
Awesome. Is there a limit to how many that you're exploring here, or is it just kind of 2 or 3 that you would be looking to add on if it was to be more than one chain?
These are on my. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. They're on my short list. So, as long as Gnosis is very similar to XDAI, I'm confident I can get that working pretty quickly. There's actually an ETH Denver event for setting up a Gnosis full node and running a validator. So I think that's next Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm really excited for that session. They're like, yeah, by the end of the session, you'll have a validator. I'm like, cool, that's super relevant. No promises. That's not what I'm trying to timeline for the DAO, but good learning. And so, but yeah, these are the ones that I'm honed in on, and I feel confident we can deliver. I would love to see in that forum post what other staking tokens are in there, our interest in what we could attract delegations to. Tendermint's kind of our bread and butter. ETH 2.0 is really interesting to me, but I have not worked with it at all, and I don't like the long-term indefinite locking. of ETH, but yeah, that's a long answer. So sorry.
No, it's perfect. It was great. It gives me lots of things to think about and maybe respond back after I deep dive on all the available staking networks out there. I don't know if it's warranted and maybe the pool is too deep, but maybe at some time, even in the forum post, there's could be a space for like short-term, medium-term, long-term goals in which you see is like a proper setup for validation between Taxi Stake and the DAO.
Yeah, I'll definitely think on that. And I feel like we're moving super fast, and always would love to add more faster, but we really have some like foundational things. I'm working on building out a second data center, and that's like a pretty large capital investment for us. And just to have like higher uptime, reliability, and build more partnerships and stuff. So, yeah, I'll see what I can come up with and put in the form.
I did see that Ron threw out there that he'd love to see a secret validator on the list as well. So, you know,
One I don't know
our
much about,
IBC boy.
Yeah, and I'm a little afraid of privacy coins, but that's a longer discussion. So,
Sure. Thanks for being open and for soliciting this feedback from the rest of the DAO on how we can get more validators or find the best ones that people are interested in. So I'm super stoked for this and can't wait for this to make it all the way to boardroom. I see we got Meg up here too. I'm not sure if Vinny's been crying or not, but if you're available to unmute, we'd love to have you give us your update as well. It looks like you unmuted, but you're not saying anything yet, or at least I'm not hearing anything. So might be a tap to talk. Still not getting you, Meg. I'm sorry. I did read your post in there in the update, and the fact that it looks like you're going to be able to resolve some of this with additional USDC. It seems like there was the first time this was proposed, everything was in Fox, and there's some ETH and USDC that needs to be covered as well.
Yes.
And okay, you're here. I hear you now.
Yay. Okay.
Yeah.
It's because I had the Zoom going and it was prioritizing the Zoom where my audio was off. So that's what's happening. GM, my peoples, long time no chat on the governance call. I haven't really been up on stage in a little while. But we got a lot of things cooking on the support side. I won't go into too much premature detail on that right now. But in terms of the We Foxed Up program, this is something that we wanted to start in January, but there was the big discussion about like how do we handle covering the fees and just things that would require us to request more Fox. You know, this was a couple of months ago, but now that we're working with Rari, we've got like USDC, and I believe there's probably some access to ETH that we could request. I feel pretty confident in moving this forward in the next week or so. So I'm going to put up a revised ideation post. I'm going to skip the forum side. I hope that's okay process-wise, since we already know that there's support for this particular campaign, which for those of you that don't know, what we want to do is request a lump of Fox for the customer support team to use as a retention tool anytime a customer has a bad experience, or maybe they have a wonderful experience and they are a really great customer and ask really great questions or participate in the DAO community in some way, shape, or form. We want to make them feel special and just have an extra tool in our toolbox to do so. So we're requesting a lump sum of Fox to be moved to the customer support leaders, and all of us will, based on our own discretion, give that out each month to help retain users, like I said. So yeah, I'll have a revised ideation post up probably at the beginning of next week, so we could start getting that ball rolling again, and just hopefully have some other tools in the toolbox. And while I'm up here, for those of you who missed the customer support community call last night, we actually got a bit of excitement whenever we mentioned that we are now working on an intro to DeFi training for our customer support agents. So what actually came up during this discussion was offering some of these intro trainings to people in the DAO community and maybe holding some trainings during the month to just, further knowledge, give people a better understanding of how customer support works, and just some transparency into how some of the ShapeShift products work too. So, like I said, we just started building out the DeFi training. We'll be working on that for the next several weeks. But we do plan to hold a basic crypto training, basic DeFi training, and potentially a basic customer support training just to kind of give some transparency into how we manage customers and what our systems look like for those in the community that, will be supporting us in the future with proposals and funding, so they know what we're all about. So we'll talk more about that in the future, but that's something that got people excited yesterday, which got me excited. So now we're going to work on building out a plan for that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, May. Glad to have you back on the stage with us. And yeah, super excited to finally get this fund to where you wanted it to be, because we definitely have some users that we would like to tip for good or for bad reasons that I think we'll definitely be able to use as a tool of retention. So thank you very much for following up on this thread, and we look forward to seeing it in its final form. The last conversation that we have today is around FOXy. We have a FOXy community discussion post inside the forum here. And unfortunately, Ocean is out on vacation today, and he was the one who posted it. I'm not sure if there's anyone else who's been pretty close to the FOXy project that would like to come up here and provide details outside of what I can share. But what I can tell you is that there are kind of 3 different questions posed inside this post in the forum around FOXy and things that the community has some say in here. We have the say on should we approve the deployment of FOXy and transfer the ownership to the DAO? Should we contribute some amount of FOX to the liquidity reserve to facilitate redemption with a penalty incurred? And then a third question of should the TDMC be delegated to control the redemption of the rewards of Toke and depositing of those rewards inside the staking system. So definitely like lots of places for us to poke and prod at around community decisions here. Not sure if John has anything relevant and is available to chat and would like to share something. But I do know that this is still a conversation to be had inside the forum post around this. FOXy itself has had quite a bit of coverage and conversations from the time that it got announced by Eric to, I believe we had a kickoff for it a while ago, and it's being headed up by Toshi, who is a previous ShapeShift engineer. So lots of resources out there to follow up on this, but there are a couple of decisions that we need to make as a community together on if we'd like to do this, how much FOX we'd like to back up inside here, and then who should be pulling the levers once it's all good to go. So if you are someone who has been deep diving in tokenomics calls or TDMC calls and has some thoughts around how to best put the right numbers in here for Fox for that, I think that's a great place to jump on the forum and start communicating. And hey, Josh, I'm sure if you have some color as well to here to add.
Yeah, no, well, I just wanted to mostly here to answer questions if anybody has any. But the one, and I did hear one question that you posed there, Tyler, which is who would be pulling the levers? The proposal here, as stated, does pose the question that the TMDC would be delegated control for some of these for what to do with the what to do with the rewards, and how to move them around. So that is part of what is under consideration with this discussion that Ocean started.
Totally. I guess in my head I thought that maybe there was an option to just set it and forget it, or else be the more responsible person and put someone behind the wheels. But
Yeah, I mean the whole idea is to get Fox, right, and then but we do have to determine what we do with that Fox, and then the Fox that is then used then gets rewards. So what do we do with those rewards? So there's definitely some people decisions required. That's going to be required throughout the whole process.
Totally. Well, one of the parts of this, I guess, then that is the variable is that how many million Fox are we going to contribute here?
Yeah.
And maybe potentially that's something that's back up for debate, or not up for debate, but at the discretion of the TDMC, or maybe that's something that we as a community should decide and feel comfortable with, or maybe a band limit or something like that. It doesn't look like it just says N million Fox on the proposal here. So I'm not sure if that's intentionally ambiguous or if that's kind of a root of where we need to be having a community conversation.
Yeah, what is the N, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if either of us is supposed to have an answer right now, but I think that's maybe why we've got this at the forum post at this stage it is now.
Yeah, I have to be totally honest, I do not have an opinion on this at this time.
And I'm in your same boat right here. So I know that there's a lot of smart brains out on the call, though, that probably do have an opinion some way or another, or maybe modeled something in here to for the benefit or demise of this project. And we'd love to get your opinions on where you think this number should be set, or if maybe the consensus is that you're sitting in the same boat with me and Josh, that maybe this is something that we leave that number to the TDMC as well.
Hello, John.
Jam, John.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I've been trying to listen as best I can, but I think so. Are you talking about the FOXy community forum posts and the request for 10 million as a buffer?
N million.
There's no number.
What should N be? Yeah, my personal opinion is this is best left to the TMDC because it's going to be a constantly changing target depending on how things evolve. Because the whole idea is that depending how big the FOXy contract gets, how much Fox actually gets deposited to it, that it'll dramatically vary how much you want in that pool. And also the options may change over time. So like we can set a starting number, but within a few weeks, it'll probably be out of date. So it's definitely the sort of thing that I think we need to prepare to adjust depending on circumstances, or set like a maximum community is comfortable with, and set parameters.
Let me ask a question about this. Is so that there can be a FOXy Fox liquidity pool, right? That would be the reason for this.
It's specifically to allow for the instant withdrawal of Fox from the FOXy contract at a price that the DAO sets, because otherwise the withdrawal can take up to a week based on how long token
where the Fox is staked that's been deposited. So that does not mean that we create a liquidity pool on Uniswap between Fox and FOXy. There's another mechanism as part of the smart contract that just allows for the immediate withdrawal at a certain penalty.
Correct. So there's it's basically just a front pool. So the DAO puts up, whatever, say 10 million for lack of a better term, doesn't have to be that. And if anyone needs to come withdraw, some Fox early, they pay a fee to the DAO that the DAO sets, say 0.5% or 10 basis points. And maybe as there's less and less liquidity, the DAO could even turn up the fee. Basically, the DAO actually makes money whenever someone utilizes this, but it's provided as a convenience for people to exit immediately from the contract. And also, more importantly, in my opinion, because you need this so that if we wanted to have FOXy, say, become collateral on Rari and become a super productive asset that auto compounds and you can borrow against at the same time, there has to be an ability to liquidate those funds immediately. So the fact that even exists now allows us to use this as collateral on Rari and put it up there. And if a liquidator needs to liquidate someone, they can immediately get to the Fox at a fee and they can discount that in the LTV. So it has a lot of great second order effects.
I thought that this was one of the things that we had the tokamak liquidity voting, and we talked about a FOXy curve pool and I thought that would facilitate this immediate liquidity of FOXy that would satisfy being able to use it for collateral and all that kind of stuff. But this is a totally separate, totally within the ShapeShiftDAO's control, just to have this pool available for immediate withdrawal at a penalty.
Correct. And to your point, Josh, once the FOXy, the Fox TFOX pool exists in Curve, the DAO could then use that to source the liquidity for this as needed. Like you could even set up an automated script that as the DAO funds go down, it basically just trades some TFOX for top Fox and pops this up. But that also has to exist first. So the benefit of this is we directly control it, and that mechanism already exists, regardless of any external liquidity. And two, it's also a source of revenue for the DAO, and you don't have to wait for that curve pool to potentially exist. Because right now, it doesn't exist, and we don't necessarily have a timeline on it. We don't want to be dependent on it.
Yeah, no, that's good. I learned about, I didn't realize that there was this separate reserve pool that we could just totally control and charge the penalty on. It's great. Okay.
Yeah, and another way to think about it is really whatever's in that pool, the DAO is likely actually earning interest on that Fox because it will charge that small fee.
Yeah.
And it always has a Fox to back each of those Fox in the contract for whatever it gives out, or it wouldn't give it out. There's very little risk to the DAO outside of smart contract risk, which we need to be comfortable with anyway. And it's basically just earning money on what would otherwise be idle Fox.
Yeah, totally. Cool.
I think what I learned on this conversation is that N was intentionally ambiguous and it is supposed to be flexible here, and that the community is not tasked with figuring out what number we're supposed to put here.
Good point, Tyler. Nice. You're right.
We're all learning today. Thank you, Josh and John, for that.
Of course.
Well, that is the last item that I've got on my agenda, guys. I do have 30 seconds for Q&A, so if you can type it out real quick, we'll go there. And if not, we do have a POAP for this call today. We're working our best on training some more people on the delivery of this, so I'm hoping that it is able to be claimed right away at the end of this call. If it's not able to be claimed, please don't DM me or jump down my throat. We will get it out there as soon as possible. It may be a couple of hours before that Claim Your POAP channel has this active. But thanks so much to marketing and the content creation team for working with myself and GK on getting this POAP process more fine-tuned each time we're figuring it out. We're getting better at it. So should be a fine polished machine here soon. So there's your POAP, guys. That's your governance call wrap up. Thank you very much for staying with me for a full hour today on our half-year governance call anniversary. And make it a good GM, everyone. We'll see you out there in the metaverse.